we'll go ahead and open the meeting. Welcome for being here. I'll ask Wade if he will open us up with an invocation.
Yes. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this opportunity you've given to each and every one of us. We thank you for the blessings of our health and our strength, and be with us now with your spirit to speak and make plans and do what's good for the uplifting of White Lake with the residents and the visitors that come. And if it's your will, Father, just help us to make good decisions and to uplift your kingdom, which is to come. And we ask this in all blessings in your name, Jesus. We pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all were provided an agenda. I hope you have had time to take a look at it. Hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
It's been moved and proper second that we adopt the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 2 on the agenda, approval of minutes. You were also given those prior to the meeting. Hope you have had time to review those. Are there any deletions or corrections or additions that need to be made?
So I did want to make a correction. On the recommendation to the board to approve it, was actually made by me instead of Janae. And, we also made a motion and also, recommended some changes, I guess, to it. Whether we were just, it was a bunch of talk. So I don't know like what exactly those recommended changes were, but there were some recommended changes to it. And then Janae was the second to it.
And I thought we had talked about that being an addendum attached to it.
There was a email sent to the planning board. Those were the changes that were incorporated. We can incorporate that into the minutes. So long as the board adopts it that way.
That's it.
So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes with the changes that were discussed as an amendment?
Yes.
Second? I think I had 2 of you down there, didn't I?
Second.
All right. All those approved, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. All right, minutes are approved.
Right.
Next item of business on the agenda, Ms. Sarah Cook's term has expired. Do I hear a recommendation to re-enlist?
So moved. She agrees to serve.
Second?
Second.
All those approved, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Item 4 on the agenda, looks like we have a zoning amendment that needs to be discussed. I'll recognize Sean for an explanation.
Three more years, right? Ms. Cook, three more years.
Yeah.
3 more years. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see everybody here tonight. I want to step down here to present this agenda item. There's some characteristics that I want to make sure the board's aware of, and if we need to have a conversation, I think it's easier to facilitate a conversation from the podiums and all the way down here beneath or behind the Christmas tree. I do want to just ask you to bear with us. We're having a few technical difficulties in the chamber tonight. You may hear a little humming sound.
Yeah.
We're working on it. You're not crazy. That is definitely a humming sound. We're working. Some audio division stuff. We're in the process of finalizing it. Preparing. So having said that, you see in your agenda packet here a zoning map amendment request for Market Crossing LLC. That is also known as Sandy Ridge. The campground, microphone style, so hit one talk. So you see one in your agenda packet, you see item 4 in your agenda packet. That is, Market Crossing LLC, also known as Sandy Ridge. And I want to call your attention first and foremost to the map that is in your agenda packet behind, well, there's 2 maps. This would be the first map behind the minutes. You'll see that this does not include the entire parcel. This is 32.91 acres of the parcel. And the reason for that is this is the amount, or this is the area of the parcel that the town is providing services to. Those services are wastewater services, and those services will include in the future water services. The Board of Commissioners has already adopted a project to extend our water line to them. They are currently a wastewater customer. Under North Carolina annexation law, there is an avenue for annexation. It's called satellite annexation, through the extension of services from the town to the customer. So even though this parcel exists outside of the ETJ, because the town is providing services to it, it is eligible for the town to annex. And because of the annexation request that was received by the Board of Commissioners at the meeting Tuesday night, we, as a planning board, must review this request for a zoning map amendment because the parcel exists outside of the ETJ and therefore does not have a zoning designation. So I know that was a lot. First and foremost, I want to make sure everybody understands that process. Are there any questions on how we're getting to the request?
You said this is just part of what they have right now?
That's correct. This
Yeah.
32.91 acres is only the portion the town is providing services to currently.
But the zoning, it should expand? Or
The
just be
zoning
with
will
this
only, the zoning will only be for the tract, that's the 32.91 acres. That's all that's coming into the town city limits at this time.
Okay.
Per annexation petition, if approved by the Board of Commissioners. I know it gets confusing quick, so are there any other questions?
If we're providing the water, I mean, that water tower that's right there right beside it. So, I mean, what does it do? Just go the other way or something? Or like, is there a divided line? Is there gonna be future of White Lake taking over that tower and stuff instead of being Bladen County? Like, it's kind of weird to be like, there's a tower there and we're providing water from like Turtle Cove or something.
So that is a public works infrastructure question, but essentially the tower will remain in the county. But that tower doesn't necessarily provide water to that location. A water tower, without going into a great long explanation, a water tower is one portion of a water system. Essentially, the tower serves to equalize pressure within the system. So if the system is, if there's a reduction in pressure in the system, the tower can then fill the system to maintain that pressure. So I know it looks a little bit out of place having that tower that close. But that's not necessarily the use of the water tower, if that answers your question.
Yeah, so I mean, like, would White Lake eventually take over that tower or? is it
That-
always
that
gonna be
is-
County?
That is going to maintain in Bladen County's water services. The county does have water services throughout the county.
Yeah. So then the rest of their part is provided by the county water?
The county does have some water infrastructure out there currently. That's correct.
And then for their sewer system that's on the county side, that's not gonna be added in. So like this 32 acres parcel, water and sewer would be provided for that. But then water would be provided, the county would be doing water for the rest of it. And then are we doing sewer for the rest of it as well, or?
We are not,
Okay, so there
not
is-
at this time.
Okay.
The only part that we're providing services to is this rezoning request that is ultimately an annexation request.
Mhm.
Which is about 300 units.
Yeah. And why does it need to be zoned business instead of a different, like? Is there another zoning, that would take care of a RV park? That's not, so business is the only option?
Before we get there, I want to make sure everybody also knows that under the annexation request, which that was why I was asking if there were any more questions on the annexation side. Under North Carolina General Statute, the annexation request and the zoning request can run concurrently. So what that means is if the parcel is not annexed, even if it is approved or recommended to be zoned, the zoning does not take effect until the parcel is annexed. So essentially, the way this will work is the staff is bringing this to the planning board tonight for a recommendation. At the December Board of Commissioner meeting, staff would ask the Board of Commissioners to set a date for a public hearing. That public hearing would serve two purposes. It would be for the annexation request itself, and then it would be for the map amendment rezoning portion of the conversation we're having tonight. So if both items were approved, the zoning would take effect at the time of the parcel annexed into the town, at the time of the parcel annexation. Now back to your question. The reason the staff is requesting business zoning is because under our zoning code, campgrounds, RV parks are business zoned uses.
Okay.
It's also staff's recommendation plays in here some too. It's also on Highway 701. And there's business that it used to be Rocky's Golf Cart Shop, and I may have that name wrong. I think now it's just a parcel that's for sale, but also the Wamsquam is zoned in the town limits under business. So you've got pre-established business zones within some adjacency to the request you see before you tonight.
And would this help us in the future with acquiring grants and things like that to have services pushed out? I mean, they're already there, right? Like, we're already providing them as out-of-town services, is that correct?
The wastewater,
Like, the infrastructure is already in place right now.
the
right?
wastewater infrastructure is, and that is billed as out of town. And if and when the annexation request is approved and they become inside the town limits, that would change. But to answer your question about grants, it's not going to hurt.
Question.
Sure.
This is just part of that campground.
That's correct. This is the 300 units or so that are not overnight spots. I'm not sure the designation there. That's why I paused there.
Okay. Well, my question, the reason I asked that is why are they requesting just this particular 30+ acres versus the whole park? And if we know that. I don't know.
Under general statute, with it being satellite annexation, the clearest path to annexation requires that the town provide services to that parcel. So that's why you see this specific parcel being requested for zoning and or annexation instead of the whole park, because the town does not provide services to the whole park.
And these are probably going to be more full-time residents versus overnight.
Well, I wouldn't say full-time. That gets into some more North Carolina
I got
law, but I would definitely say they are not overnight residents. That's correct. Or overnight spots.
2 months.
And are there subdivision requirements that, so once they get annexed in and they already have a development, does the development that they've already installed comply with our subdevelopment rules that we already have in place?
It does not. It comes in as is, but I will tell you that Mr. Barfield, who is the proprietor of Market Crossings, is working with staff now to make sure that there is a smooth transition at that point. And anything that would come into the town at that time that was not in compliance with our zoning code would be considered a non-complying use. And at that time, would there ever be any changes to each individual lot? Let's say a camper is pulled off of a lot or a structure is pulled off of a lot, they would have to meet the zoning code at that time to establish a new structure on the lot.
Do they have structures on there already?
There are some,
Okay.
and they will come into the town as is. We cannot enforce a zoning code until it's inside the town city limits and or ETJ, but this would be in the city limits.
And then are we taking over their, like, did they put in the sewer system and water and then we're taking it over from them?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
So my thought on that is, I mean, I would want to have some sort of verbiage or something to be like, because once we take it, once we as a town takes it, once the town takes it over, then it's our responsibility as a town to be like, hey, well, you know, they didn't pull up these pipes and stuff, and now we've got to mitigate these leaks and stuff, and that's a cost to the town. Can we throw that back to them to be like, y'all messed up initially? You know what I mean? Like,
I'll answer your question,
Yeah, we're
but
good.
albeit I would just want to point out that's separate from a rezoning request.
Yeah.
That's more into the annexation itself, under conditions of annexation. However, they established their system under North Carolina standards, which is what the town utilizes. In other words, the state has permitted the water and the wastewater system by North Carolina standards.
okay. And then if their lot sizes aren't conforming to our current stuff, what is the, like, how far off are they?
The lots are conforming.
Okay.
I mean specifically, a structure that's on a lot would make it a non-conforming lot.
Okay,
Let's say they have a structure with a accessory use building that's not 5 foot off of the lot line. That would be non-conforming.
Mhm.
Does that answer your
Mhm.
question? Which they would have to come up to code if there were any changes. A lot of people in layman's terms call this grandfathering.
But they don't have too much grandfather stuff right now, so it's like, if they come in, you know, if we approve it pretty soon, then everything that's new would be like, all right, well, it's new rules. You know, the 5 or 6, I don't know how many's out there, because, you know, I mean, you just drive by, I'm on my way to White Lake, so I'm like passing it by, but I don't know, like, what, you know, how much inadequacies are there to be grandfathered in, you know what I mean?
There's not as many as you may think. Again, their staff, Mr. Gerald Barfield's staff, is working with our staff currently to understand the rules, the zoning code, and they are trying to make a very easy transition if and when their annexation request would be approved by the Board of Commissioners. In other words, we're already discussing some of these things proactively.
Okay. That's all I got.
Any other questions? Pleasure of the board.
And while we're in that conversation of pleasure of the board, I do want to let the board know, because it's a rezoning map amendment, there will need to be a statement of consistency and a statement of reasonableness entered into the record as a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. You'll see all 4 options outlined on I guess that's page 2 and or page 3, but I just want to make sure the board's aware of the legal requirements. that
So
go
we need to
along with
read
this
it
type
as
of
is.
request.
What's the wishes of the board?
On the 4 options. I mean, yeah, I'm inclined to approve it. And so of that, there's 2 choices: that it's consistent with our objectives and policies in the adopted land use plan, or it's inconsistent with the objectives and policies in the adopted land use plan. Do y'all?
And the difference is there, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, the differences there would be that if it's inconsistent, and that's the wishes of the board, if you make a motion to approve it, then you would still say it's reasonable for the benefit of the town. You'll see that a little bit farther down where it says the amendment is reasonable and in the public interest, or as you outlined before, the map amendment is consistent with the objectives and policies in the adopted land use plan, and the map amendment is reasonable and in the public interest at the time. So that's the differences on that statement of consistency with the statement of reasonableness. Is it consistent with the land use plan or not? And is it reasonable and in the public interest or not?
Do we think it's consistent? With our plan? I don't really see any red flags on
It's already rolling. Yeah, it's taking place, it's taking shape.
I need that in the form of a motion.
You can just read that paragraph right here.
Yeah.
That's good. Which one?
Top one.
No, yeah. I'd like to make a motion. The board has reviewed the request and found the zoning map amendment is consistent with the objectives and policies in the adopted land use plan. The map amendment is reasonable and the public interest at this time. And whereas in accordance with the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 160D, the Town of White Lake Planning Board does hereby find and determine that the recommendations of the proposed map amendment is consistent with the goals and objectives of the 2023 land use plan. In reference of the land use SWOT Analyst Vision 2023 statement, White Lake is a year-round destination with attractions for all. The clear, healthy water of the lake provides endless recreational opportunities, while the picturesque scenery beckons you to rest and relax. The serenity of its beauty feeds your soul, and then a variety of restaurants feed the body. Shops are filled with your employment with precious treasures you won't discover in other areas. Everyone wants to be at White Lake.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second that the board has reviewed the request and found the zoning map amendment is consistent with the objectives and policies in the adopted land use plan. The map amendment is reasonable and is in the public interest at this time, and whereas in accordance with the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 160D, the Town of White Lake Planning Board does hereby find and determine that the recommendation of the proposed map and amendment is consistent with the goals and objectives of the 2023 to 2043 land use plan. In reference to the land use SWOT analysis vision 2023 statement, White Lake is a year-round destination with attractions for all. The clear, healthy water of the lake provides endless recreational opportunities, while the picturesque scenery beckons you to rest and relax. The serenity of its beauty feeds your soul, and then a variety of restaurants feed the body. Shops are filled with your enjoyment with precious treasures you won't discover in other areas. Everyone wants to be at White Lake. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. The recommendation is approved. Any other business that needs to come before the board?
I've got a couple items.
All right.
If there are none from the board. I know we're getting close to the holiday season. I just want to make the board aware of a couple of things that staff is aware of. Not to say that anything is a done deal or a certainty, but again, with the holidays fast approaching and traditionally, I think the planning board taking some time off for the holidays. We do have on the horizon, staff is aware of a potential special use permit request, which is another, is actually a quasi judicial process, but at the planning board level, it's a recommendation. We went through one not too long ago. There is a zoning code update project that staff has begun working on. We are engaging with a couple of firms, but essentially we're looking for some grant dollars to focus on updating the zoning code now that we're past 160D and that our board is in place, and there's been a couple of suggestions made along the way in terms of improvements we could see. So I'll make sure and share with the planning board as we get more information on, number one, if grants are available for that. I think they are. Number two, if you qualify for those grants. And then of course, number three, if we were to procure one of those grants, that would be moving into next year. And then I guess the third thing on my list would be to make the board aware of a potential text amendment that staff is looking at discussing right now, dealing with business advertisement signs. They take the shape of political campaign signs. And to give you a brief overview, the zoning code addresses signs for businesses, but it does not address signs for businesses off-site, particularly advertisement off-site. In full transparency, staff has received several complaints that have suggested to staff in talking with our zoning administrator, myself and Madam Clerk, as well as engaging with some other professionals around the state, that we may look at a text amendment for that type of language moving forward. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. It's open forum time, but we don't have any guests, so we'll skip. Anything else needs to come before the board? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those opposed, say aye. Approve, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.